What's going on, YouTube? Come back at you with another video. So I thought this was really interesting. I want to share this with you. There's a lot of people out here who don't realize how serious this is for 6ix9ine, and they think that somehow he's going to be able to get out of this like he has everything else. And I'm going to share with you, this is coming from justice.gov. It lists the charges, and then it tells what the penalties for those charges are. So let's start with this one. This is Count 1, racketeering conspiracy. These 5 different defendants face 20 years in prison alone for that count. Now, that's not saying they're going to get 20 years in prison for it. That's the max penalty that they could receive. So for that one, 20 years. Count number 2, this is the most serious charge that Tekashi faces: using or carrying a firearm during and in relation to or possessing a firearm in furtherance of a crime of violence which was discharged. So discharging a weapon while committing a crime, basically. Life in prison is the max. For Jones, Jamel Jones, who's MEL murder, a minimum of 10 years, mandatory minimum of 10 years. For the other defendants, which 6ix9ine, Crippy, SHOTTI, and Genzel Butler, they face a mandatory minimum of 25 years. So for that count number 2, the most serious, up to life in prison, but a mandatory minimum they're facing of 25 years if convicted. Wow. Count number 3, violent crime in aid of racketeering, April 3rd, 2018. This is for Kefino Jordan, which is SHOTTI, Genzel Butler, Daniel Hernandez, 6ix9ine, Fahim Walter, Crippy. 20 years in prison for that count. So what do we have so far? We got a 20, a minimum of 25 to life. Then we got another 20. Now we're going count 4, violent crime in aid of racketeering, April 3rd, 2018. This is, again, SHOTTI, Genzel Butler, 6ix9ine, and Crippy. 3 years in prison is the max for that one. Using or carrying a firearm during and in relation to or possessing a firearm in furtherance of a crime of violence which was brandished. That's SHOTTI, Genzel Butler, Daniel Hernandez, which is 6ix9ine, Fahim Walter, which is Crippy. Life in prison is the max. Mandatory minimum of 7 years. Violent crime in aid of racketeering, April 21st, 2018. This is for the other guy, Fuguan Lovick. Faces 20 years in prison for that. Using or carrying a firearm during and in relation to or possessing a firearm in furtherance of a crime of violence which was discharged, and that's the Fuguan Lovick. He faces life in prison, mandatory minimum of 10 for that. This is another 6ix9ine charge. Violent crime in aid of racketeering, July 6, 2018. SHOTTI, Crippy, 6ix9ine, and Genzel Butler face 3 years in that. So 6ix9ine faces 3 years for that count. Life in prison, mandatory minimum of 7 for this one. 3 years for this one. 20 years for this one. Mandatory minimum 25 years, but up to life for this one. And this last one, he faces 20 years in prison. This shit is out of control. To be honest with you, my opinion is 6ix9ine's only hope right now is to snitch on everybody, tell it all, because if he doesn't, he's out of here. And he's already in a situation where it's looking real ugly for all these defendants. So, I mean, this is a rough situation. Prayers go out to them. Regardless of whatever, I don't want to see them in a situation where they could potentially be spending life in a prison. And just imagine 6ix9ine having to spend his life in federal prison. It's mind blowing to me that this has happened and how far he let this trolling shit go and get out of hand, and how misguided and misled he was into thinking that he was invincible and untouchable. And it was crazy to see him on the Breakfast Club recently talking about how the only thing he feared was the FBI and God. And look at how that shit works. Shit's crazy. Let me know what you guys think in the comments though. Hit the like for me. I definitely appreciate you. Peace.